Hello, hello. Okay. How's the view today? Oh, that'll do. That'll do. How's it going? Welcome to Water Walk 10,428. Well, flow is good. A little silty at the moment, but not too bad. A lot of mosquitoes. Now up here, people ask, oh, is malaria a risk where you live? I'm like, no, I suspect there's very little malaria up here, you know. But there is dengue though. That's a serious mosquito-borne pathogen as well. Anyway, how's everyone doing? I'll get a leech on me this week. I got one on me last week. Maybe. Yeah, so usually August, September are the two, up here at least, are the two big rainy season months. September is turning out to be indicative of that to some degree. Although I'd say in general the rainy season hasn't been as bad as other times, but on the other hand there's been a couple of really heavy rainstorms. Maybe heavier than normal, so wow. What a surprise. That's what happens now. Anyway, oi! Today is a lesson in limitations. Yeah, so I had a bit of a stomach bug for a couple days, and today I feel better, but still very weak. Yeah, I'm just sweating like a pig all over. It's not that hot today. Hang on. Looks not bad. Yeah, so I started off this morning walking up from home thinking, oh well, maybe I'm about 70 or 80%, and then pretty quickly I went, nope, 50 or 60 tops. For sure. Turns out those upper 40% are actually really important. But it's not as though I haven't been in this spot before, so I know what to do. So I needed to get water today, but it was also because I've been basically almost stationary for a few days, and just need to get my body moving. I believe that being in motion and extending yourself physically can push things away at times, but that's not always so easy to predict, but we'll see how today works out. So very weak today, so every step was, I just go into low gear, climbing up here, and every step was half the size and 2/3 the speed, I'd say. Kept a similar rhythm, just a little slower, but much smaller. And of course, it's not always when you're sick that you're weak, right? When you overextend a certain point, you push yourself to an edge, and all of a sudden this weakness comes on, right? You have to kind of gear down. So part of the trick or the lesson is to know where you can push it a little and where you need to pull back, right? Because it's always good to push the edges a bit, I think, you know. But you also have to know your limits, eh? I think it's really important. And I think it's one of the beautiful things about being a living being, human, animal, is the knowledge that we have limits, right? And every now and then you'll hear some whatever, new agey, whatever, woo-woo, woke, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, go on. You know, as humans, we have no limits. It's like, oh, you got limits. You got loads of limits, man. And the limits are not only important, but like a framework, maybe. Have a beauty to them, definitely. Oh, that's weird. It's got a dent in it. Must have been from last week. I was putting the knapsack up, but I forgot to tie the bottles in it. The bottle flipped out once we landed on the rock. Hopefully it's not leaking. Probably should get a new one. This one's probably like 5 years old. I'm not sure if it's good to keep using the same plastic ones. The water doesn't sit in these too long. I'll transfer them over to glass bottles. Usually it sits in one of the bottles for a day or so. That's about it. Yeah, that's okay. Fine then. Yeah. You know, like the classic one is, if you're climbing a mountain, at some point you reach your edges and there's that rest step. I was doing a bit of a rest step there for a bit when I thought, oh, you know, a little bit of like wooziness, and I didn't want to stop. You know, on the one hand, should I stop and sit? In which case, sometimes it's hard to get going again. Or do I just gear down, go slow, but still in motion? That's my preferred way, you know. But sometimes you have to rest too. So the rest step is like you take a step, take a couple of breaths, take another step. Just gear it down as much as you need. And then maybe you catch your breath again and you can pick up the pace a bit. Yeah. Yeah, so limitations, eh? So going down, I have to be extra careful. On the one hand, it's not as aerobically challenging. In fact, it's not aerobically challenging at all. But I've got a lot of weight, using muscles, and because of my physical state, it affects my mental state and ability to pay attention, potentially. So I'll need to be just as slow, I think, and even more focused. I also think it's really good to do physical things when you're lessened and you're diminished, you know. I think it's really good, both physically, but also mentally, and a way of understanding our bodies, and kind of, now I'm spinning on the same topic, but understanding how we function and how we can adjust ourselves to different situations, you know. Of course, one of my things for a long time is trying not to be too comfortable, you know. That's always my advice, in life. It's really easy to go from less comfortable to more comfortable, and really hard to go the opposite direction. You know, gotta be reasonable about it too, right? So we'll get a good drink of water before we head down. I'm not sure if, maybe I'll do a bit of videoing while I go, but I might not. Maybe I might just make my way down, and when I get to that flat open section, just check in again and see how that fared. Then I'll head home, and I have a shamisen repair job to do, and that's what I'm going to do this afternoon and tomorrow probably. And yeah. Okay, I'll be back with you in a sec. Well, I'm not quite at my open spot yet, but something popped into my brain. And one thing about being in a slightly altered state, one nice thing actually, and right now it's a diminished state, but perhaps it could be other kinds of states, same state, I don't know what other word to use, is right now, like, things seem very vibrant to me, you know, like very rich and full, awake kind of thing, you know, and well, that's nice and maybe important too. Okay, I'm coming up to the swampy area. I might as well do a bit of videoing. I think I can handle this. Hang on. Yeah, so right now this is the time of year when all the shrubbery is growing to its full extent, you know. And I'll show you. There's this one spot that, if you've watched these videos, you've seen before, but where it's kind of wet because there's overflow from this big concrete cistern, and there it's really like thick. Just be a little careful, you know, like a couple of snakes mostly, I suppose, you know. Probably fine, but in general, but I, you know, keep my eyes open. Hit the brush with my stick here. I feel it needs it. Especially be careful where you step, because it's hard to see the ground. I just stepped on a root, but it was okay. You can see, like, where's the trail? I can see the trail, but it's just right there. And there's the cistern. What? Also, right about here, it just drops right off, right? Like, my stick stops because it's just in the brush, but you have to be careful and pay attention to the edges, you know, because you can't see them, and want to make sure you don't slip down that bit. That's for sure. Yeah. I think I'll have a sit on that rock and flip the camera. Whew. Where can I sit down? Maybe right here. Maybe right there. Okay, oh, I've got to tie up my laces on my boots too. Okay, hang on. Hey. Well, my focus is good. It's obvious to me at this moment that it was the climbing up and the effort to do that. Blah, excuse me. Wouldn't that be embarrassing to throw up on camera? Anyway, so it was the muscular and aerobic effort to come up that was wearing me out, and coming down I find actually keeping my focus not really an issue. So that's good. Anyway, like I mentioned, the shift in the diminishment, the shift in physical presence has created a different perspective of where I am, which is kind of cool. And anyway, I guess that's it. It's not a very long one this week, I guess, but hope everyone's doing okay. And à la prochaine and all that. And I've got my Patreon and donation links both in the video and in comments and description. If you wish to support my work, please feel free to do so. It will all be put to good use, and promise not to spend it all on wine. Okay, or any of it. Okay, take care, and see you on the flip side. Ciao. Oh, hey, I made it back. Made it back in one piece. Hey, I wanted to add that my dear and old friend Susanna is heading up to Killarney on a solo hiking trip. And Susanna and I have spent a great deal of time together up in Killarney, and kind of has always been a definition of our friendship and sisterhood, really, you know. And so I'm wishing her well, and we'll be thinking of her, and wish I was there, but also really glad that Susanna, you're going off on your own, and it's fantastic. Solo travel in the wilderness is a deep thing, and really good as long as you're, you know, ready for it and all that. And Susanna certainly is. Anyway, I wanted to end this video with that. Okay, see you later. Bye.